Want to increase your chances of landing that job? Then look no further. Our sponsor for today's episode, Coach TC, has what you need. For CV writing, interviewing, and networking coaching, reach out to him on both Facebook and Instagram using the same name, Daily CV Writing Tips. Alternatively, you can even use the phone number that's written down in the description section. Use it on WhatsApp, give him a call. You know what you want to do. You do what you got to do. But reach out to him and get that CV spruced up ASAP.
When I say I'm taking over, they just act surprised. Feel like Donald Trump is all I'm after is the power, 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 power.
All I'm after is the power,
power, power, power, power.
I feel like Donald Trump, 'cause all I'm after is that power,
power, power, power, power.
I feel like Donald Trump, 'cause all I'm after is that power.
Doing it my way, I'm choosing money over everything. This lately I've been learning you will never get attention, even if they don't pay. But I stayed humble, they claim me to fly, but all I'm seeing are airplanes. You would take my orders even if I'm dead, 'cause you know I'll never do my
Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the African Millennial Podcast. And in today's episode, wait, hold up. Today's episode is not just any ordinary episode. I know it's, of course, is part of the series, but today's episode is super special because, Chicks, you want to tell them what today's episode is?
Yeah, man. I mean, this is the 25th episode. I mean, to go reach my new records, new set high records. So yeah, I mean, we're happy to be here on the 25th episode and sharing knowledge. I mean, the African way, the millennial way that we ought to share this new wealth of knowledge. So yeah, 25th. Big up, shout out to Kimo on the 25th episode. Keep doing it, man. Keep doing.
Yes. So today we're celebrating our Silver Jubilee. This is the 25th episode on the show. So wow, it's quite a time. Thousand member viewers,
Yeah.
1,000 downloads, 25 episodes. So it's a double celebration.
The double whammy. Yeah, we there.
So yeah, I mean it's Silver Jubilee, guys, and we'll need your support. We thank you for your support. And if you'd want some shout outs, we'll start making shout outs on this slot in this intro. We'll be making shout outs. So if you want a shout out, just send a message in our DMs, either on Twitter or on Instagram, and we'll make sure that we give you a shout out in the next episode. So, without wasting much time, let's introduce today's topic, which is your house an asset?
Mm. I mean that one is it's a hot thing. It's a hot topic.
I mean, every day, I'm growing up. You know, the way we were brought up, rather, is your house is that's the biggest financial asset we have in the house. In our family.
True.
So families think of their houses as assets. Well, rather, everyone sees their house as an asset, and
Yeah.
the same story perpetuates to each and every one of us. That now, soon after we graduate, soon after we start getting a little bit of income, what we're thinking of is, I need to get myself a house.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that everyone is worried about. So once you have a house, according to you, you have an asset. According to you, you're financially free.
Well, I like the
That's the,
according to you part. Yeah, you yeah, that's great. According to you.
yeah, because according to Robert Kiyosaki, if your biggest financial asset is your house, then you are in serious financial trouble.
Yeah, and still is financial. That's true. I mean, one thing we don't realize is the first house, your first house is actually a liability. I mean, people really confuse that with when you say a house is an asset, people confuse that with a house that's bringing in rent. But if you're staying in that house that you own, it's not bringing in rent. You're actually paying bills, etc., etc., etc. Which means it's taking away money from you. It's not your asset. I mean, yes, you physically own the building, but it's not an asset. I mean, if you dig deep into that aspect again, you'll find out that it's probably under a mortgage. You actually bought a liability to for you to have
Yeah.
fake asset in the form of a house. So
Let, let's talk about it. I mean, obviously, the question in mind, or the question at hand, comes from a confusion of the actual definition of the terms asset and liability. I guess
yeah.
maybe we can start by defining what is really an asset and what really is a liability.
All right. I mean, if we're starting from that point, I would use this definition. That's that would be the most basic one before we even look at the dictionary ones or what. Because you know what, if you go straight to
Yeah.
the dictionary, it's going to confuse a lot of people. Let's look at an asset this way, at this perspective. An asset brings in money into your pocket that it reflects on the balance sheet. And liability takes away money from your pocket, and it's a credit side on the balance sheet side. So an asset
Yeah.
reflects value on the balance sheet. So that's why you see, for example, through all my accountants, my financially literate man listening, the balance sheet side, under the assets, the non-current assets, that's where you put your houses, etc., plant and equipment, etc., etc., which means they're bringing in money somewhere, somehow. That's through rentals. And then liabilities taking away money. That's how you see mortgages, bank of overdrafts, and the liabilities. Why? Because they're taking away money from you. So in our context, is your house your value? Is your house an asset? Most people, I mean, look at our generation, Generation ZX, you name it. Whenever we start going to work, having a solid income base, the first thing we go for is a mortgage, probably
Yeah.
500K mortgage, a 1 million K mortgage, in the name of buying a house, which we later termed it as our asset. But look at it. This mortgage you're getting, be it a 500K mortgage, be it a 1 million mortgage, you're going to pay for it over 20 years. 20 years, that's almost half of your lifetime. If you're working life,
Yeah.
you're actually paying for an expense, which you term an asset. Is it bringing money to cover that expense you've taken on? No, it's not. You're actually paying more to stay there. You're better off renting. You're better off renting than you taking a mortgage for 20 years. Look at it. The amount of money you've taken out, 1 million to buy a house, which is not making money, you're actually making more money paying for that mortgage. If you've taken that same amount of money, 1 million, and put it invested it in a business or in any other form, which will guarantee a return, you're better off investing or starting a business with that 1 million loan rather than you taking that 1 million mortgage to buy a house. I mean, anyways, let's stick to
Yeah.
the basics.
I mean, if I can circle back to the definition you brought,
Yeah,
a house asset in basic terms, in layman's terms, is anything that gives you money, right? And I
yep,
feel like the confusion that comes through with most people is the banking system was meant. I would like to throw in the banking system in there
yep,
because I feel like that's the other reason for confusion. Because a bank will tell you that get a house, it's an asset, right?
yep.
Because it's an asset in their books, not in our.
That's good. In whose perspective is that an asset? That's another thing we need to bring up.
Yeah, and they also tell you that get a house because you can use it as collateral to get a loan, right? so, so you see that, and in that way, we start to look at a house as an asset, of which is not really giving you anything. You're not getting anything out of that house. Look
Exactly.
at basics of assets. Look at assets like a stock. That's the best asset ever
Best asset
because
class ever.
it demonstrates the principle in a simple way.
Yep.
You don't you don't own a stock to keep it,
Very true.
right? If I mean if that's what people did with stocks just to own them so that we keep them, you might as well take them back, right?
Exactly.
But
We have a time.
you own a stock because it gives you a dividend,
Exactly. Exactly.
right?
It gives you
All right. All right.
it gives you a
Yeah.
dividend, and within that holding period, it also appreciates in terms of capital gain. You buy it at
Exactly.
$2, you now sell it at what, 4, 8, depending on the market volatility and other aspects. But
Yeah.
rightfully saying, I keep alluding to what you're saying. I mean, you buy stocks to resell when they have appreciated, when they have gained value in terms of your perspective, in terms of I understand the holder's perspective. When you come to
Mhm.
houses, when you're buying a mortgage, you see the mortgage, you're paying interest monthly, right? That's form of rent to the bank. because they lended you some money, 1 million 20 years ago, and you're now paying for that in excuse me, in subscriptions over a period of 20 years. That's more like you paying rent
Yep.
every month. So what
Yeah.
difference is there from you just not taking that loan and you just renting some place out, renting out, sorting out your finance? That's you grinding hard for your rent and taking that loan, not a mortgage per se, but a loan of, I don't know, 500K, and investing that in your business, in your craft, in what you have passion for. You definitely, if you can pay a mortgage out, you can find a way to pay this loan out, which means you're making more money to pay it. So if you can cover your mortgage, which means you can make money, the mortgage, the principal plus the interest, which means you're making more money actually. If you can cover your mortgage, you're actually making more money than making more money more than that mortgage. So I mean, why not rent? Why not rent rather than buying a liability?
True. And if I can actually say, I would like to quote Grant Cardone. He says, "Rent what you own, right?
Hmm.
Rent what you own, and rent what you own, and rent where you live."
Where you live. That's more like you're renting a house, but you own multiple houses.
Exactly. Right? It's way cheaper for you to rent, right, than for you to actually own it. Right? Owning it is more expensive.
It's
But
more
then if you
expensive.
own it, yeah, if you own it, let it make more money for you. I
That's
was
true.
I was talking to my friend. I was like, do you know why? Here's the reason why black people, again, just to connect it with this whole Black Lives Matter thing going on. The reason why there's so much racism right now, it's because of the wealth divide between black people and white people.
True.
And the reason why there's that much of a huge wealth divide is because white people own more and black people own less.
Nice.
White people own to rent and black people own to live.
Yeah.
You get the
That's right.
you get the
I get the point.
a black, our parents told us, chicks in the Kim, when you finish school,
Hmm.
buy your own house.
Buy your own house.
Right?
That's true.
Buy your own house. And somewhere, somehow, uh Donald Trump's kids are being told, when you graduate, you need to buy properties to rent out.
To rent out.
You get the difference.
That's the difference.
So I am working out here to get one property where I can live, because when I get that property, I feel like I'm good, right? Because now I have a house, I can get a loan from the bank. I can get loans from the bank. Yeah, yada yada. I feel like I'm secure now because I have a house. I
Yeah.
have my own house. I have title
Collateral.
deeds.
Yeah. Or
I have
one form of collateral. Yeah.
exactly. But then, do you see where this does not solve my the world problem? Because I only have a house, right?
Hmm.
But I don't have both, because this house I'm paying every month. I'm paying rental. I'm paying rates. I'm paying maintenance of the house. I'm making sure that the house is always in order. I'm paying money. It's like the car that I have, right?
Yep.
I'm always looking and I'm like, huh, I have to pay maintenance, right? I have to maintain the car. I
Exactly.
have to, if the tire is burst, I have to replace it. I need
Exactly.
to buy fuel. I need to make sure that the car is always running. All these problems. Not to mention vehicle licenses,
Exactly.
insurance.
You're paying over all those expenses. You're not taking care of them.
Exactly. You see, I'm paying all these, right, from my own pockets, right? And
Hmm.
this car is not doing anything. It's just, this is a money pit. Be
Look,
honest.
it's not actually bringing any value to you.
It's not giving me any value, right? So this is what we as black people have right now. We have a lot of money pits. We have no money generation,
Money generation.
generating, uh, you know, assets or things that makes us money.
Yeah.
Now, to go back, I would say, to cover the world divide. Um, Black people, take an example in South Africa.
Yep.
White people, white people in South Africa today own the majority of South Africa. Black people don't own. Black people are just in, because black people mostly stay in, the Alex Parks, the um
Yeah, the outskirts,
so we
the Sowetos, etc.
yeah, and they're working hard to get out of Soweto so that they buy houses in Sandton.
Incentive, yeah.
right? They are all working hard to buy houses in Center, but who owns those houses in Center? White
Exactly.
people.
But we
Because you
don't
know
we
what
don't we
white
don't we
people are
don't
doing?
research that far.
Yeah, we don't. White people are going to the
We
bank,
don't
the
research
same
that
bank
far.
that we are going. Yeah, we're going to the bank to buy houses for us to stay in. White people going to the same bank, and people complain that the system is rigged against us. No, the system is not. Of course, there might be some institutional racism on all those structures that exist, right? But
Yeah, that's
the
true.
system, what we have right now is lack of knowledge because the same bank that's giving a white man in South Africa a loan to buy property is the same bank that I am going to again as a black person to get a loan from the same bank
The
to
same
buy
thing.
myself my new BMW or my new Mercedes Benz or my new Land Rover.
That's true.
He's choosing to buy property to rent out. I'm choosing to buy to. I'm sure like the thing, the common thing, when people in South Africa come back to Zim. I mean, everyone who goes to South when they come back to Zim, they're always driving these
Nice cars,
luxurious.
exactly. Fancy cars, bro. You'd be like, wow, wow, what's going on?
Then when,
Just to cut you short on that, just to come in through. I mean, you're speaking to the fact that these are the saying that goes. There are certain people that I think I said it in one of the episodes prior to this one. That
yeah,
what you're saying is white people leave not to they eat and drink to live. Then black
exactly.
people we live to eat and drink.
Yeah,
That's just two different things. It all zeroes down again on the mindset to say if you're living to only eat and drink, then your efforts are going to be challenged to you finding food only and not thinking outside the box. Then as a white
exactly.
the white person comes in and says, I'm here to live, not to live to eat and drink, but to live beyond this food. I want to make my own food. I don't want to live for this food. That's just different. So when it
Yeah,
comes to it's the same mindset again when it comes to houses. You spoke about we being indoctrinated that the first thing we need to have after we graduate is to get a job. When you get a job, the next thing is to get a house. Once you get a
yeah.
house, we're not taught about what should you do next after you get a house. We're not. One of the things I need to bring out, I need to bring out to the public is that have you ever noticed how many black people have businesses versus how many white people, how many Chinese people, how many other races have businesses? Look at it. When
Mhm.
an Indian comes in Zimbabwe, the first thing they do is what? They look for a business. When a Chinese comes to, they look for business opportunities. They don't even think like employees. They don't even think that way. What do we do? We as black Zimbabweans, or let me you say black Zimbabwe. We as millennials, what are we thinking of? We're thinking of getting a job. We're not even thinking of starting a business. We don't even think of starting a business or starting a thing of our own.
We're not.
We don't have that mindset, which means we actually have a generational gap in terms of how we think.
Yeah, that's true.
We need
That's
to
true.
we
I mean,
need, we need to revamp the way we think, and it starts by us eradicating the fact that when you have a house, you think you have an asset. You don't have an asset. You have a liability. It's it's
we don't.
it's chowing your money. It's
Yeah,
chowing
I
your
had to
money.
sit down. I had to sit down with one of my uncle's business partners.
Yeah.
He's in SD, by the way.
All right.
He
Yeah.
owns I think he now owns 30 units in terms of real estate. He
Wow.
owns 30 units now. So
Wow.
he was just talking to he was talking to me and my uncle this one time, and he was saying, how I get all these properties is simple. The bank that allows me to get these properties. Essentially, he goes to the bank, right? He gets a loan for a property,
Yep.
a unit, maybe just an apartment in a flat, right?
Yeah.
He gets that's it. So he just gets one unit, and he's supposed to pay monthly, right, for that unit. So
Hmm.
instead of him staying in that particular unit, he gets someone to stay in that unit. He leases it out. Someone stays in that unit and pays him rent. And what you don't know is his rental, the rental for the person who occupies the tenant's rentals, right, are paying off the mortgage at the bank.
You see, smart play.
And the bank, now when he goes back to the bank looks at his record. He's paying every month without fail, right? Do you know what happens to his credit score?
It rises, bruh. And
It goes up. You
you,
see, it goes up. Now, when your rental when your when an average black person's credit score rises up, do you know what they do? They buy a Mercedes, they
Tell us, please.
buy a Range Rover. Some are even buying
By a
Matahari,
range, I need to.
right? I want to
Yeah, yeah,
quote
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I want to quote Jay Z in his song
yeah,
444, in the album 444.
yeah,
He
yeah.
says, "What's more important than what is it? Did he say money?" And when he said credit,
Credit, yeah, yeah. That's right. Let me just look it up.
do you know how the people what built America? Well, they built Dumbo, whatever. That's how they did it. Like credit is how these people make money because we now his credit score is high. He can go to the same bank and say, "Yo, can I get another unit?"
Exactly.
The bank is credit score. They say, "Yeah, you can actually get 2 units," because the bank is a trap. They want you to lend, they want you to borrow more because they make money when you borrow.
When you borrow, that's
So they're
true.
going they're going to promote you borrowing. So if they see that you, and the thing is they manage the risk by seeing how well you pay back what you bought, what you owe.
But
So
you
if
own.
you're a person who back what you owe, you're very attractive, they can trust you, so they give you more. So he starts off with 1 unit and they see he's paying well, then they say, okay, you can take 2 units. They give
Exactly.
him a more to get 2 units.
And you
What does
know,
he do with it?
eh,
He puts two more tenants.
more tenants is getting more money. And you know what that happens is all that money he's getting, I mean, it's tax free. You know, that
It's
it's tax free.
really
That's really, really important to point out that each every time you get a loan from the bank, the money is tax free. You need to put it to good use.
yeah, yeah,
You need to put it to very, very good use. I mean, because whenever you get tax, there's no way you can get tax free money. You can only get tax free money from these sources. It's either it's a passive
yeah.
income, it's
Mhm,
real estate that's in form of rentals, or it's
mhm,
end income, the form of you like you and me working for it. You know, putting out
mhm.
going out to our daily chores. But then that money is not tax free. It's taxed somehow. So the moment you
Yeah,
get that those loans from banks, that's tax free. That's really important. You need to put it to good use because there's no
yes,
government hand in it in any way. But however,
yeah,
highlighting what you're just saying, it's you see the mindset of that business partner is thinking outside the box. And if we actually look down deep down into that partner, he's actually maybe renting out where he's staying, but he also has
yeah,
30 units making money for him. In other words, that those 30 units, those assets that he has are paying for his luxuries that he's where he's staying. So whenever you find him now driving his Range Rover, it's not coming out from his from him taking a loan from a bank to buy a ranch. No, it's coming from his assets. These assets, the money he's taking, is working for him to be able to supply his luxury lifestyle. And that's
yeah.
one thing. That's one thing we don't understand is that you make your assets work for you, make your money you have earned using your sweat.
Good for you.
I'm going
Mhm.
to work like what we're doing right now. Make them employ that money, make it go to you so that it can afford you the luxuries you want, the luxuries I want. Right now I'm
That's
doing certain things. I'm sacrificing the joy of now so that so that the money I'm investing now can be able to buy me that house, that mansion that I want to live in, those holiday trips I want to go in with my parents on. It's how you think about now, how you managing that money you have now. So me buying a house now, it's out of the box. It's not a box I want to tick right now.
yeah. Because I mean, buying a house is not really an asset, unless if you because here's a tricky thing. A house is what I was call it depends. It can be an asset, it can be a liability. Same thing with a car, right? If you
Mhm.
buy a car and you put your car as a thing for Via, or you make it a taxi or an Uber, whatever, it becomes an
It
asset.
becomes an asset. That's making money. That's true.
Exactly. When you have a house, right? When you buy your house, your first house, don't think about it in the terms of I want to stay there. Think about I'm buying a house so that I can rent it out.
I can read it
Because
out.
when you
Yeah.
start, it actually changes the way you think about buying houses. You're no longer just thinking of buying a house. You're not thinking of buying a unit.
A unit. That's true.
You're not thinking more differently. Instead of using $1 million to buy a fancy house in Bordeaux Brook or any this high class residential areas, right?
Yeah.
You're now thinking in terms of, wait, I can use the same amount of money to buy myself a 5 unit block complex in say Marlborough or Marlborough or
Yep.
Westgate, right?
And you
What does
develop
that
that.
five exactly? Because when you get more units, you're increasing the amount of money you can make.
You
You're
can make
earning
exactly
potential. Yeah, because think about it. You have a house in Bordeaux. Maybe you're gonna rent it out for like what, $500? Say $1,000 or
Yep.
$900.
900, yeah. Let's just put it at 900.
The same amount allows you to buy maybe a 5 unit complex in Westgate, and you can charge at least 500 or 600 for each unit.
For each unit,
You're
yeah.
making more than the house you would have gotten in Bordeaux. You're really making more,
You're already
right?
making more,
And
yeah.
with what you're making now, you can start making more investments. And again, remember, now you have 5 units. You can actually go to the bank and use 1 unit as collateral.
To get more money to do more stuff.
Exactly. You see, so you can use 1 unit to get money from the bank and use that as collateral. Whereas a person who bought a one house in Bordeaux, he has risked his entire portfolio,
That's right.
right?
All
You
eggs are in one basket, and it's terrible.
Yeah, putting all eggs in one basket. You have five. You have 5 units. You can put one house on 1 unit on collateral. You can put another unit on collateral for a different venture. You can have 5 loans. You can take out 5 different loans
From
from the
different.
bank.
You see, that's the assets taking care of the liabilities. You know what you're saying only goes further to stress the need to know accounting. You know, to need
Yeah,
to, everyone has to know accounting. It's a must.
exactly.
If you really want to be financially free, you need to know accounting. Whether you're a doctor or scientist or software engineer, whatever you do, you need to know accounting. It's the basic principles that make you go far in life. Be it, let's not talk about budgeting, the more complex factors, but just need to know the basic definitions of what you're saying at the start: asset and liabilities. Once you know that, you now move on to the cash flow management cycle. So
Exactly.
you start dividing your cash into assets which bring in more cash flow in the future, and limiting or toning down the liability side, because the liabilities, all what they all do is just chow your money. They don't bring back the money. All they
They don't
do,
bring back.
exactly, all they do is just taking in. They're good at receiving. Neither they good at giving.
They're bid friends.
They're very bad friends. Yeah, you can say that again. The one friend will just be like, nice to meet you.
So you want to minimize. You want to minimize those and maximize the giving friend.
The giving friend,
That's what.
exactly.
Because I mean, if you I started doing this personally, like with my personal finances,
Yeah,
just looking and what, saying I need more things giving me money and less things paying. Because a person asked me, how what's the easiest way to make money, right? The easiest way to make money, don't use money.
don't use it.
Don't
Don't you dare.
use
Don't you dare. I've got this other saying that I go with along with. It's don't you touch the cash.
Yeah,
Don't touch the hard cash, those $10 bond notes or even the USD notes. If you have money, let it be in form of more of a money banking money. Well, in our situation, the fact that we're having hyperinflationary environment and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But with the look of things, the moment you have a lot of cash, to say you're holding on to 1,000 USD in your pocket right now, you don't think
don't
properly.
you?
You don't think properly because you think, I'm rich. I've got a grand in my pocket, right? But the
Yeah,
moment you don't have it in your pocket, sitting in your account, it's locked up somewhere, it's doing some other stuff.
yeah,
You're forced to think of ways to have money in your pocket.
exactly.
You're not sitting on your laurels to say, I'm waiting for a salary or what. But with the moment you don't have money in your pocket, it's in your bank, and somewhere you don't have access to it. It prompts you to think of ways that can have you having that liquid cash you need to facilitate your day-to-day movement. But then again,
Yep.
like I'm saying, you don't have to really hold on to numerous amounts of cash. You just need to have just enough to make it go by your day to day expenses. That way, you leave room for the huge chunks, the big chunks of money to be invested somewhere. You might be putting in a bank earning interest. That's fine. You might be putting it as a starting venture capital. That's fine. You might be putting it in equity. That's fine. At least it's working for you, not you flushing it about and you're prone to be,
Oh yeah.
you're to impulse buying. So yeah, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
great
I mean,
opportunity to share.
you also need to start looking at money in terms of what it is. Money is not, money is nothing. Money is not. It's
You you
just a
you
tool.
you're bringing out a good point, very very important point to me to stress out.
It's a tool. And when you think about it, what you want is your tool to get you real value,
Real value,
right?
exactly.
What you to, because if it's the reason why companies employ more employees, right, is because they want to create more value.
They don't create value. It's true. You're
Yeah.
spot on there.
If one employee can create X amount of value, two employees will make 2X amount of value.
Yeah,
And if you have
meth
N amount of employees, you can make NX amount of value, right?
value. True.
Business is valued by the value it produces, right? So the more value it makes, the more value the business is.
That's true. And bringing it back home, I mean, at an individual level, what we're saying to the listeners is, you know what, money value is attached to money. I hope they get that right. So
Yeah,
what I mean by that is the value you produce as Cheeks, as a Kim, is attached
yeah,
to monetary value. You see,
yeah,
so the more you work on yourself, the more you improve your knowledge base, be it in any field that you're passionate
mhm,
about, be it in agriculture, be it software, be it finance. The more you invest in
mhm,
yourself, that's you investing in knowledge, knowing about that craft, become
yeah,
absolutely world class at knowing that stuff. Then the value of the things will be equated to the value of money. So you see the likes of Bill Gates becoming billionaires. It's the value of what he did or what he has people doing that translates into the monetary value that you see him being quoted as the net worth, etc. And even the likes of Jeff Bezos. It's about the value they have. So for you to have to have to be rich, to have money, to have wealth, to have a rich life. It's all about what value do you put on your own life. What things of value do you have? You know,
exactly.
is your brain valuable? What do you know? Do you have the knowledge of certain things, of certain specific areas that make you valuable in certain areas? Have you ever seen how the group CEOs of many different companies are honored and appreciated when they walk through in any building?
Yep.
It's the value that we perceive them to be having that makes us bow down when they walk through. Whenever you see a CEO or passing through, or a politician you see passing through, you're almost afraid of, like, wow, this is a special man. I don't have to be close to you, Fifi. That type of thing. It's the value we project onto them, and it's the value
Yep.
they know that they have. And if you look down, if you have a thorough analysis of this top guys, this top industry folks, you see that they invested time in themselves, in them knowing certain things that if we also, as young people, as millennials, we do the same thing, we do invest in those certain areas, we grow.
Mhm.
We grow to actually surpass them. But the fact that we are handcuffed by certain things, by certain brain patterns, by certain thought patterns that we have. We have to unlock that. Really need to break those barriers, to break those mindsets, to say this certain push, this certain statuses are accorded to certain people of the world. No, everyone has the ability to become a billionaire, to become a financially free person, to become the
That's true.
next Robert Kiyosaki. But it's your mindset we need to fix first. From thinking that your
Yep.
house is your asset, it's not your asset. But if you have houses paying you rent, then those are
Mhm.
assets. Then we can start having a broader conversation around the wealth and the poor mindset.
I would also want to go back and say, going back to what you said, the value you can create the value by improving yourself more, right?
That's true.
I would also want to put that and project that on a bigger scale. I mean, that's the first and easiest way of making of creating value, right? Of increasing your value.
That's very
You
true.
can create value personally by how much you know. So by improving yourself, right? You can
Hmm.
improve the value that you. So I'll call that. I'll put that in what is known as the cash flow quadrant, right? You're an employer. You're an employee. Sorry. You what how you make money or how your value increases is by you knowing more stuff,
More
right?
stuff.
So
Exactly.
by you knowing more stuff, you move away from being uh, an employee and you move into a self-employed. So that's where you become a consultant. You feel me?
Exactly. You
So
got that
when you're a
right.
consultant, yeah, when you're a consultant, it's no longer because when you're an employee, I mean your salary is picked by someone else. Someone determines your salary
Yeah.
already, right?
Exactly.
Because the amount of time you spend here, we pay you this amount of
Hmm.
money. Then as a self-employed person, as a consultant, right, you pick your own value. You know how much you're worth, right? So you
Exactly.
say, "Oh, for me, I'm worth X amount of dollars, right? But then again, we reach we reach a limit in terms of how much you can charge for how much you know, right? So there's the third flow, which is the business owner. The
Yep.
next level of creating value or improving your value is by getting other people to make that value for you.
And
Think about this.
yep.
If
Yep.
I can if I can make $100, if I can charge $100 every hour, right? If I
Yep.
can charge $100 every hour for my craft, for my
Yep.
craftsmanship, I
Hmm.
can charge
Hmm.
$100 every hour, right? It means it means I can literally in a day, say I work how many hours a day? Let's just say I work 800 sorry, 8 hours every day.
Eight. Yeah, that's 800
That's already $800, right?
a day.
Then when you look at $800, that's in a day, and you put that against how many weekdays a day? 20 weekdays, right?
22.
It's week it's 20 weekdays, right?
22. 22.
Mon- Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday is five. Then in a month they're 22. Yeah.
Wait up. Oh yeah, 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 that's true. That's true. Okay, so it's just that's 17,000 I can make. That's a natural limit. So I can make 17,600 in a month.
In a month.
That's a natural. Yeah,
Wow.
that's the natural limit that I cannot increase. The only way for me to increase this amount is either by working more hours or by increasing my value, right? Which might again be hard because I might be already a PhD person, right?
You already reached the threshold.
Exactly. But listen to this: if I can get two people I can get two people that maybe they don't charge as much as I do. They're not as knowledgeable as I do, but then they charge less, right? I
Yeah.
get two people to supplement what I do. So I am putting in 17,600, right? They're putting in uh I don't know, X amount of dollars.
Yeah, a
So for example,
substantial amount. That's good enough to your account.
you see, and for you to start increasing that, you can start getting more and more. Imagine if I get two people who are like me,
Wow. Wow. I mean,
right?
you actually tripled your value in that case.
I've just tripled my value right there,
Yeah.
right there.
Right there.
Three people, two people were like me. I've just tripled my value. If I get five people like me, who, 10 people like me, who, you see. But then the more people like me I get, the more I have to pay them again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Introduces us to the last and most the pinnacle of value creation, which is the investor.
The investor. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
investor is not paid off how much he owns or how much he knows or how much value he knows in himself or how better he makes himself, but he allows his cash to make more money for him.
More money.
So instead getting more people to work for me or trying to work more hours or trying to go to school to further my education so that I further my knowledge, I could buy assets that make money for me.
And You know what? And that's the hardest decision that I've come across
That.
that we have to make as millennials. Are you sacrificing your time to learn, or are you
Mhm.
sacrificing your time to earn? So it's either way.
That's true.
What are you
I like.
learning? What are you learning? What are you earning in that same instant? So
That's true.
we as millennials we really have to strike a balance, or not really strike a balance, but to really know that we need to go to the earning side. So whatever you learn, well, let me just use this. As for my what my dad usually tells me is that if you learn something, make sure you earn something out of it, because there's earning literally in the word learn. So you just take
Mm-hmm.
away the L, there's earn. So make sure you
Yeah.
learn to earn. Don't just learn to just for the sake of knowing things, but make sure
Knowing
you're
things.
learning to earn something, because there's earning in learning, both figuratively and both literally in the word. So whatever we do, to all our listeners, is make sure you're learning a craft to earn something out of the craft. So if, for example, they'll be saying, some might be saying, oh, you know what, I got a degree in sociology, but it's not making me earn something. Here's the thing. I'm gonna quote TD Jakes here. Bishop Jake says, if it's not the thing, let it be the thing that will lead to the thing.
Yeah.
I hope you get that right. So if you studied, for example, sociology or
Mm-hmm.
psychology as a degree, then you feel like it's not earning you, it's not the right field for you, but you did study psychology, then you feel you're inclined towards finance, right? The moment you
Yeah.
study finance, yes, psychology was not the thing, but it's the thing that made you realize that it's not the thing. So you study
Yeah.
finance. So when you're now in finance, you now have another secondary skill, that's finance, versus your primary skill, psychology. So how do you interlink those things? You now have psychology to understand the emotions of people, etc., etc., etc. With that financial background, you're unstoppable. You now know, if I do ABC, people are likely to react so. So if people are coming aggressive to me, with that psychology background, I know how to address certain issues. And hence finance, you actually so higher in your finance career. But anyways, that's another topic for another day. We are sticking
Yeah.
to say, alluding to what Akim was saying, the hierarchy he brought about a few minutes ago, was to say, the starting point is you gaining value for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you gain value, you now accelerate more. You now get other people to push your vision. Then you get to
Yeah.
the last level, you rightfully, as an investor. So that's where we want to go, becoming an investor, having that money to to place
Make
around, and
your money.
having people working for us.
Yeah. Make your money make more money for you.
Exactly.
Because I mean, here's a simple thing. Um, my dad used to say, my dad used to teach me how to hunt and stuff and fishing. So we used to go fishing with my dad, and when we went when we went hunting,
Yeah,
sorry, when we went to
we have to go
my
fishing one day.
when we went to my grandparents' house, he would tell me, because he grew up hunting, right? So he would tell me, this is how you hunt, what, this is how you fish, what. He told me the psychology, and rather the best way of attracting fish or prey. And he said the best way to attract prey is with the prey.
Interesting.
You feel me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just got another revelation. Where you just say the best way to attract prey is to be with the prey.
And put it in terms that more guys will understand.
Yeah,
Oh, girls will understand.
girls understand. All
For
right.
guys, for guys, the best way to attract a girl is with girls.
Exactly. Hang around hot girls, then, well, we'd be like, okay, he can
Uh,
attract this sort of woman, so maybe you might be able to see me. They obviously, one thing I realized about women, still on this women topic, is, have you ever noticed
uh-huh.
that women only remember other hot women? They never remember
Yeah,
those mediocre. Why? Because they're seen as potential. So
that's true.
if your girlfriend remembers another girl's name, just know that,
Mhm.
yeah, she might be out of her league in a way.
Because I mean, look, if that's the reason why most married men are attractive to women, because you've been tried and tested, right?
Exactly.
A single
You
guy,
got a record.
Yeah, you've attracted, right? So if other women see you with another girl, they're obviously interested in you. It's the same thing with money. Money follows money. The best thing to attract money is with money.
It's with
You
money.
know, if you have a Benjamin in your pocket, it will be able to look for other Benjamin. It's hard for you to look for money. That's a problem. We are trying to look for money.
And
When you look, money is selective. It's selective.
exactly, just
So
like a
when you
cat. I
want,
remember. You just remember. You just jogged my memory. I remember the cat that we talked about previously. That's how money behaves.
I mean, that's the psychology of cats. Cats, the moment you give them so much attention, the moment you give a cat so much attention, it won't want to do anything with you. It's A cat is selective. It wants to go where it's given the least attention. So don't
Exactly.
be all up in its face. Don't be all up in money's face. You know,
Be patient.
let the let the money look for the money because
Hey.
money is where its friends are. Huh?
Exactly.
Who better
Exactly.
to find money than money? Who better to find prey than prey?
Pray because they know it knows where its other brothers and extended family members are. Then it will just bring out the whole lot to say, you know what, meet my family. You know, you're now finding the fives, the tens, the twenties, the fifties, the Benjamins are now popping up like, wow, where have you been hiding?
Yeah. And the easiest way for you to start making money work for you. So the thing is, most people when we speak like this, people don't get it. When you start saying terms like make money, search for money for you. No, we're not saying that um literally take money and put it in your pocket and expect to have 500. No.
No, 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 no.
But we going back to the statement, you need money to make money, which is very true. Because get yourself get yourself thinking of your house instead of an asset, but rather a liability.
Yeah,
When you look at your house, the moment you start looking at the things that you currently are fighting or killing yourself over to purchase right now, because you think they're assets, and you start to realize how that iPhone 11 Pro is not an asset, but a money pit, how that um, expensive Mercedes or Range Rover is actually not an asset, but a
a
liability.
liability.
How that house you want to buy is actually, or that stand you want to buy is not actually an asset but is a liability.
No, you know, I, I also heard that I saw it from it's a quote from Jay Z. You know, he goes by I quote, "If you can afford anything twice that you own,
Right. Yeah,
you're not yet there. You're not yet rich. You're not yet there. You get it. So if you can't
man.
afford the basic things, I'm not going to talk about houses or what. I'm
Mhm.
going to talk about us. If you can't afford two same pair of socks, two same pair of socks, or two same pair of trousers, if
Mhm.
you can't buy it twice, I mean, there's no need. I mean, literally you're killing yourself. It's dead capital already. You find that you're actually living above your means. So if you can't afford it twice, trust me, be it shoes, trousers, shirts, ties, whatever. If you can't afford it twice, before you even talk
Yes.
about buying houses, if you can't afford what I just said, just list it now twice. I mean, you're in a
Right.
dilemma.
Well, you have no business looking into those things and getting those things
You get no
because
business aiming higher, just striving to buy a house and what if you can't buy your own pair of shoes twice. I mean, wow.
twice, yeah. Because if you see that if you can't buy anything twice, for example, if you can't buy your current car, if you can't buy if you can't buy a second one,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
If the current car that you want or the current phone that you're using, if you can buy a second one of that, right? What you need to be, you have no business putting your eggs in trying to buy it. You have
Exactly.
more business trying to make more money so that you're able to buy it twice.
Twice. That's true.
My dad used to say my dad never used to buy things on credit. My mom is different. She loved buying things on credit. So she would go to TV sales, would give her credit, so she would be paying stuff monthly. My dad, on the other hand, as long as he cannot pay it once off without affecting his daily lifestyle, then he wouldn't buy it.
That's a good principle. That's a good principle.
Yeah, but then now we're stepping it up to say, but for my dad, it was more of a conservative and being always making sure that he's financially secure, right? But for us, we're
Mm.
trying to, again, taking into consideration that he had to take care of a family, so he had to do that. But for us as millennials, we're not yet some of us might not be taking care of families right now, or we might be taking care of young families. We want to try and introduce wealth into the equation. We want to introduce wealth into our families right now. And if you want to introduce wealth into your family, you now need to make sure that whatever you're buying, you can buy it twice.
You can buy it. That's true. You know,
Whatever you're buying,
the funny thing about wealth, what most people don't realize, what most millennial kids don't realize is, you know what, wealth is like a seed. You
yeah.
know, you first you first put down your first saving, your first amount of money you put aside. That's your seed. That's you digging that seed into the ground. Then you have
Mhm.
to now you now go to the second stage now to water that seed. So you water that seed by constantly putting aside a certain amount, constantly saving that certain amount, constantly putting it to work. That's how you water that seed. And soon enough, you do that long enough, you'll be able to bask within the shade of that tree. Yeah. And that tree, remember, when you put down the seed, it's now starts taking nutrients within the ground. It's now working to germinate. So then I'll bring another concept, the bamboo tree. I know you knew it. You know you've seen it around. The one that says
Uh,
it takes 5 years for a bamboo tree to break the ground. Then within 3 weeks, it grows. I don't know, more than 50 meters in 3 weeks. But remember, it was under the ground for 5 years. And remember,
yeah,
under the ground for 5 years. So within those 5 years, if the farmer didn't water, didn't put enough fertilizer, and etc., after 5 years, it's going to be still underground. But it's that work that was done when the seed was underground, before the fruit could be seen. That's the same concept we need to take it when it comes to wealth. You know, wealth is a long term game. You need to be patient. It demands patience.
that's true.
And consistency is the success coach. If you're not patient about making money, then you won't be constant in doing certain things that are needed by wealth for you to become wealthy. And
Yeah,
and and so certain things, there's certain principles you need to start doing. You need to educate yourself, not the formal way, informally. You need to start reading. You need to have a wide base of knowledge.
that's true.
You need to know a lot of things. You don't have to be inclined to a certain aspect or certain profession, but you need to have a good substantial amount of knowledge in terms of a lot of things. I won't mention them in particular, but you need to know a lot of things. So yeah, I mean that's how you start growing wealth.
Wealth is a very interesting topic, and it's I think we'll have another specific episode to just talk on wealth.
Yeah, we,
Uh,
we definitely have to.
we we need. I think until people start thinking in terms of wealth generation and wealth creation, then we doomed. We doomed. Racism will never end.
It'll never end. That's true. You
Yeah.
know, I've just recently I've been seeing this other tweet guy. This other tweet lady. What's her name?
Hmm.
I'm forgetting the name. Where she was saying, you know, Jesus is white. And if you ever wondered to say why Jesus never stepped a foot in Africa, blah 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 blah, she was just it's actually a thread of post, but this one really
Hmm.
got me. She was talking about South Africa. She goes to say, black people are moving
Hmm.
from Soweto going to they're actually going to work in white areas. So they bought a combi, et cetera, to go and work in white places, and that's a white economy. Why don't
That's
you black people have your own black economy? Have
yeah.
you ever, have
I
you ever
mean,
seen white people going to to work in black areas? What's
no.
dubbed it exactly? It's us black people moving to white people. And she also went to talk about the white wedding issue. He says you Africans have your own traditional wedding styles.
Yep.
why did you take along this white wedding era? It's a traditional wedding in Europe. The white wedding. I hope you knew about it.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. The white wedding we have, that's a traditional marriage in Europe that we are now taking
You-
as a must in our culture. But well, cultures that the culture issues. I'm not really keen to talk about them, but it just gave me a different perspective to things.
That's true. I mean, but if you just look at it, I mean, nothing, everything is covered by the same. The moment you start thinking of making your house an asset, you start all these things become opened up
That's
in
true.
terms of how you do these things. Because the reason why we still why we are making we're investing more money, or we consume, whenever the little money we get, we go and support the white economy and never the black economy, is because we're not thinking in terms of our houses, our assets.
That's right.
Because when you have a house as an asset, when you start seeing your house as an asset, you start to see, because obviously when you want to rent out your house, when you want to rent out your house,
Yeah.
you're not going to be a white man.
You're not. Yeah.
Yep, you're going to look at your fellow black people,
Hmm.
your fellow African guys. I'm renting out a house. I'm renting out a room in my house, right? So when you do that, when you have more people, more black people doing that, we start to increase money circulation in black communities.
Exactly. That's how
And
we build a black economy.
exactly, because when black people, when I'm making money, obviously, when I'm making money, when I want to start making some money for myself, I'm going to buy a better house. Obviously, I might start in maybe might start in a low density, in a high density area, and I rent out. Maybe I own 5 units in that high density area, right?
Hmm.
I'm going to obviously buy property in the middle density areas or low density areas, right?
Exactly.
And when I do that, I'm again promoting black people because I'm reaching out to my black community, guys. I now have I now have a property in the low density areas, right?
Yeah.
I'm introducing black people or the black economy into this. I'm including all this wealth now in the black economy
That's
because
true.
guess what? If I own, if a black man owns a complex in Santon, right?
Yep.
If a black man owns a complex in Santon, that complex is no longer a part of, that's a minus from from the white economy,
Correct. That's true. That's true. Because the money
right?
is no longer
Because
it's no longer coming to them. It's now going to us, the
it's
black
now
people.
you see. So the more we do that, the more we increase the black economy, the more we introduce the wealth factor into the economy,
No.
and the more the black economy thrives or starts to develop wealth, the better we can, or the better position we now have when it comes to racial injustice, institutional racism, all
Exactly.
those things here.
Systemic
Because
racism.
yeah, the reason why Peterhouse currently can uh just because there've been rumors of,
Yeah,
yeah,
racism. I saw that post. Yeah, I read it through.
the reason why that exists at Peterhouse is because it's predominantly a white school.
What school? Yeah, and all they're saying when people become racist, all they're saying is you don't have what we have. You get
Yeah,
it? And basically, it's just in terms of monetary, in terms of wealth. You're not at the same level as higher social
we know.
classes. That's just what
Yeah,
they're saying. And to break that
yeah.
barrier, you have to add value to yourself. See yourself as
Mhm.
being worth it. You know, be confident in who you are first before you try to project your confidence to someone else.
Someone else, true. And
Exactly.
again, my friend James used to say this. We used to laugh with James. It was we were always like it was very hard to go for white chicks because we were at school and wanted to go for white chicks. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, it's hard to go for white chicks." I'm like, "Why?" It's like, dude, it's hard to go for white chicks because it's hard for them to look at you really as someone worthy of their attention
So
when
that,
your father is their father. You see?
yeah, yeah.
So dad is looking for her dad, right? and I'm going to ask my father's boss's daughter out.
Out.
She's literally going to be looking at me like, because obviously
Yeah.
she's witnessed how how her dad, the power her dad has over my father.
Oh, your father,
She's
yeah.
powerless. My father is in front of her dad. Now she's thinking, how can I be then equal to this person? Huh? How can
Exactly.
this kid
How can I be? How can I
be
submit to him?
to him? It won't work, right? So
Yeah, it won't. It won't.
until it's common for black people, for white people to see more black people in positions of power,
Of
not
power and
just
authority.
yeah, not just politics, but in terms of business. When a white father, a white man is saying, "I'm going to make a business deal," I have to sweet talk. You know how it is
Exactly.
with business. It's a big deal. This is a big deal. The future of the company is dependent on this. The deal I
Exactly.
need to strike with this.
Yeah,
And that man is a man. That's the only time they will have respect for us, right?
that's the
So you
only
see,
time.
that's the only time because right now they make the people that as a kid. Look, there's a Dr. Jen Elliott. She's saying racism is taught, and I agree with her.
It's actually
If I'm
taught. There's no one who just come who is born a racist. There's no such thing.
because imagine as a kid growing up, and the only people you see your dad ever being afraid of are white people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true, man.
You know, imagine a white kid grows up and all he ever sees, his father is only nervous when it comes to white people. His father is only concerned when it comes to white people, right? His father is always trying to please
White
other
people.
white people. That child is going to grow up with that. Probably then black
Mentality to say,
people.
I'm inferior to these sort of people. Have you ever felt? I remember, when I went for my trials back in 2016.
Yeah,
Whenever I entered a room where there were only white boys, you could feel it.
yeah,
You don't have to be
yeah,
told that you're out of place. You literally
yeah.
feel it in your bones to say, this is not a good area. Man." But
It's a big,
what makes you what made me feel that way is the way I grew up. You're being
yeah,
told, I'll using our native language to say murungu. Murungu means boss, but murungu
yeah.
means
That's
white.
true.
So
Yeah,
when you see a white person, what you think is murungu. Murungu is a boss. So whenever you see a white person, you're thinking, wow, he's a boss to me. Whereas it's just a mere
yeah.
kid. He's just a mere kid as you are. But the fact that you've been indoctrinated to say Murungu is boss, and you see him, and you just feel inferior automatically. But then
Autom-
it takes a turn in terms of your mindset, in terms of your thought pattern, to say no, we're at the same level. It's just different skin color, but it doesn't matter. But to get to that stage, you need to, like you're rightfully saying, we need to do a lot of work in terms of us as the black community.
yeah. The black community, the moment, and for us to really change that, we need to start thinking of our houses as not assets,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
think of them as liabilities. And we need to start thinking of ways to make them assets, to make them make more money for us.
That's true.
I feel like that's a lot we've talked about today, man. I mean, uh, the conversation is obviously open on Twitter. If you guys want to communicate with us on Twitter, on Instagram, the conversation will always be there. Remember, this is weekly, a weekly series on wealth creation
And the poor
in the African,
mindset.
yeah, the poor man. There's a wealth in the poor minds.
Yes, well than the poor mindset. Yeah, yeah,
We want to drive toward building wealth within the African perspective. And for us to really do that, it takes us as the millennial generation, as we are obviously the guys who are taking over the future of Africa.
the future of Africa. Yeah, boy.
Remember, your dad used to say this. Uh, your dad used to say, white kids are brought up, or European kids are brought up being told that you are a solution to Africa's
Problems.
problems.
Exactly. And we are taught you need to grow up and become a doctor and work for someone.
Exactly. And we're yeah. We see, we are the solution to Africa's problems,
We are,
and we,
exactly. We need to empower ourselves to think that way. And you know what? The
yeah,
moment we
man,
think that way, we will have results. We should start acting in that direction.
true,
So
true,
we
true.
really have to change the way we think and we start going in that direction.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a lot that's been said. I mean, do you have any closing words, remarks?
Yeah, closing remarks.
People,
You know what, guys? Those listening, success is an everyday thing. You live a successful life, not a success. So successful means you need to continuously do successful things. So yo, make it a habit. Be successful every day.
yep. This is not guaranteed. It's not yours. You only rent it. So
You
every day you have
exactly.
to wait. Rent. Pay
Rent is
rent.
rent is due every day.
I think we should actually make this a tagline for this one. Rent
Exactly.
is due every day. If you paid your rent
If
yet,
you paid your success rent every day.
have you paid it yet? I mean, yeah, yeah, brother. It's been a very interesting episode, and I hope you guys have managed to take in all this information. Hope you guys have made it to thinking about it rather, and starting to see how best you can make it work for you. You need to make it work for you.
Yeah.
Money. Look at $5 you have in your pocket in your wallet. That $10 you have in your wallet right now.
Yeah.
That 100, that thousand if you're blessed enough, that 10,000 if you're fortunate enough, that money should work for you. Don't Not the other way around. Don't work for it. It should work for you.
True.
Until then, you're free. Don't be a slave to money. Make it be. Let it work for you.
Ameni, ameni.
All right, man. So again, guys, thanks again for tuning in to yet another exciting episode of the Wealth and the Poor Mindset series. Don't forget to hit us on Instagram, Twitter. Links are down below. Unfortunately, Chicks is not available on Instagram. Had you wanted to follow him, I am though. But he's always available on LinkedIn, the professional network where you can connect with him, give you tips on how to trade, how to trade. By the way, I think the one thing is, has the stock exchange been opened up yet?
No, it hasn't. I mean, that's another cause of commotion within the market. Like since the closure of ZSC, the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, as well as the mobile money applications, it has really brought about some distress within the investment world. But however,
Mhm.
with the introduction of the auction system, forex auction trading system, confidence has managed to be regained within the market. But still, a lot has to be done. You know, I always say, well, to all those finance guys, you know, we all know that we have to have a strong policy fundamentals as well as the condition of the economy for us to really have something lucrative going on within our economy.
Yeah. So, guys, you heard it. You heard it from the man himself. Oh, yeah. I mean, again, it's that's the one thing about assets. Most people be like, yeah. I know some guys are like, yeah, we told you about these investments of yours. But guys, think about it. This is only temporary. I mean, the stock you already own in say in school,
Hmm.
it's mature.
It's maturing, exactly. It's getting value, and you know what? When the stock exchange opens, you know what? With this dollar stabilizing, the Zimbabwe dollar stabilizing. Now I understand today, as of yesterday, it was sitting at 65 as to Zim dollar as to the US dollar. That's an
Mhm.
improvement. You know, it just lost marginally. Last week it was at 63, so it fell 3%. That's an improvement to me compared to the previous week where it fell 11%. So those are signs that confidence is now trickling in back to the economy, but at a slow and steady pace.
All right. Wow, this is very interesting news. I mean, for this and more news, you have to follow Chigs on his LinkedIn. It will
Yeah.
always be again in the link in the description section, and you guys can follow. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the podcast. Please leave us a review. Send us that feedback. It's very valuable. We need to know where we're doing. when we're doing the right things, when we're not doing the right things, and how you feel like we should improve some issues and topics that you feel we should address. And obviously, hearing your feedback, your responses to some of the controversial issues that we raise. It's very important. I'd love to know how you feel about us telling you that your house is not your home.
We love to hear the feedback. We love it so much.
So yes, to yet another episode. Stay tuned.
Something in the world of money cannot buy. Sure, I always chase it till the dead die. When I say I'm taking over, they just act surprised. Feel like Donald Trump is all I'm after is the power, 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 power.
All I'm after is the
Power, 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 power.
I feel like Donald Trump, 'cause all I'm after is that power. I want it.
Late nights in the studio, cause I'm motivated, want the art to grow. Where this beat's gonna take me tomorrow, I know cause I'm buying the ticket today. I stay grinding, beat riding, and play the game till the whistle blown. And you never hear me saying, put it on the frame, never in it for the fame. My music is my transportation to a lot of nations. All my visitors and my patience on most of these radio stations and getting the message that we are the ones to the message. If it's complicated, back to the basics, been agitated for the pain in my verses, but now I feel it like stress is a blessing. Polite to the game like you opened your curtains. Power moves on the get-go, never made a cut like an afro, but me limit, bro. Wanna find a detonate that can break my bread for me. If I didn't know this gym is trying to make a difference on my pops, you should pray for me. RIP to the VIPs, and then everybody's never there for me. Tell the future that I'm there. Tell my city that I'm here. Backstage, we're prepared. About to turn up in a minute. We touch base when we let go. Got the heads bumping like the Super Bowl. Man, I'm parred up like a UFO. Put the game back, what you mad for? Yeah, something in the world of money cannot buy. Sure, I always chase it till the dead die. When I say I'm taking over, they just act surprised. Feel like Donald Trump is all I'm after is the power, 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 power,
It's all
power.
I'm after